Welcome to She Finds, She Funds. I'm Sheena and this is Christine, a Queensland buyer's agent and mortgage broker.
We believe the more you know, the more you can do. Each week we'll share what we know, what we've learned, and the conversations we think more people should be having.
Perfect. Welcome back to episode 2.
Episode 2, we made it.
Yes.
So thank you for listening to episode 1. And
If you didn't, go back and listen to it.
yeah, don't have to scroll far. So what are we talking about today, Sheena?
I'm actually so excited for this one because it is a really hot question at the moment. I feel like everybody's asking it and nobody's sure what to do. So we are talking about, should you buy now or should we be waiting?
Yeah, I think this is really important.
Yeah.
I'm also hearing that a lot. Lots of people are nervous, and we thought we'll get straight into the hard-hitting stuff. We might start the episode with a bit of a highlight of the week or funniest moment of your week. What's
Yeah.
been happening in Sheena's life? Anything?
I live a pretty boring life. Um,
You're planning a trip, aren't you?
okay, my highlight of the week. I don't really have a funny story. I'm trying to think if I've got a funny story. The funniest story would probably be when we were trying to record
Mm,
and we're getting the giggles over
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
in the office the other day. Highlight of the week would definitely be jumping headfirst into this.
Yeah, I agree. That would definitely be one of my highlights of the week.
Yeah.
I kind of have a recommendation for people.
Oh,
I recently went to a new cafe, and it wasn't the coolest cafe that everyone talks about on the Sunshine Coast. It
yeah.
was actually the Bloom Hill Cancer,
Yeah.
what is it? The Bloom Hill Cancer Foundation
Yeah.
Cafe
In Budrum.
in Budrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really beautiful. It's like a rainforest oasis. It's really beautiful. It was a little bit drizzly when we went there, and it's completely run by volunteers.
Oh,
Yeah, and really great food and coffee if you're into that.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I got a hot chocolate, of course, but yeah, I really recommend it. They've got little blankets on all the chairs if ever anyone's a bit cold.
Yeah.
It was so sweet, and yeah, really nice volunteers that run it. And
Oh,
of course, it goes to a really nice cause.
yeah. Maybe we'll have to have a planning sesh
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
All right. So should we get into it?
Mhm.
Should we buy or should we be waiting?
Well, I might yap a little bit on this topic and
too.
just tell the people what I'm seeing out on the ground
Yeah.
at open home.
Awesome.
So numbers are definitely down. So I'm based on the Sunshine Coast, of course. Numbers are down at all properties
Yeah.
compared to last month. And I think there's a few reasons for that. Firstly, it's the time of year. If you look back at historical data, everyone will be able to see that the growth and the listings are often down in winter.
Mm.
A lot of sales agents go on their Euro holidays.
Real estate's holiday season.
Yeah, they're off in Europe. Yeah, I know quite a number of
Yeah.
agents who have just chuffed off for a couple of weeks because
Why
they
not?
know it's the time of year that they can without
Yeah.
being under too much pressure.
Yeah. Well, they work 7 days a week,
Mm.
really. So
Yeah, so
when it's
good on.
quiet, take the opportunity.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying seeing all that footage on social media.
Why we're here.
Yeah, while we're here. Sunshine Coast is a beautiful spot though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of what I'm seeing. I know that people have been able to negotiate as well more rather than this is actually music to my ears. I love negotiating.
Yeah.
So people are now able to negotiate and speak to the agents themselves rather
Yeah.
than just see them once, right, put your best and final offer in.
Yeah.
It's been like that, unfortunately, for 5 years. People just one shot to get your best and final offer in. If you miss out, too bad, so sad. Go over to the next
In saying
property.
that, don't you? That just blows my mind, though.
So
Okay.
the real estate agents have strict guidelines that they have to stick by and follow. If they have what we call a multi-offer scenario,
Yeah.
they're not allowed to
Disclose.
actually disclose
Yes.
or have the other two battle off against each other.
They're not allowed to.
Best and final. If they sign a best and final form, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. unless, I guess, unless the other offer that's ahead of them falls through and they find a better offer and they've buggered off, then they can say, right, they've gone. You can now put your offer forward. You're the only one in the game. However, you were $5,000 short of the other offer.
Yes.
So that's why when we had 30 people at an open home and 15 offers on one house, the safest way for everyone involved was to do those best and finals. And I think that's why auctioneers have really become super popular in Queensland as well. I love the fact that there's a lot of women stepping into the auctioneering space as well at the moment, because they know that it's more open and people can see where the other buyers are at. There's actually been a slight increase in stock here on the Sunshine Coast, so more listings than the last quarter. So that's a positive. However, there's unfortunately, due to the announcements from the federal budget, there's a lot of nervousness in the market at the moment, and markets don't do well with nervousness. So I think there's a really great buying window at the moment. It's definitely advantageous to go and look around. If you've been putting off buying for a little while, I think now would be quite a good time to go and have a look around, chat to some agents, because you've actually got some opportunities too. They're not as busy, they're not as swamped with activity, and those homes that are not selling within a week are still hanging about on the market, so you can probably negotiate a bit off the price.
Yeah, definitely. I agree there. There are so many people that are nervous about buying at the moment, or changing anything.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I'm seeing pop up as well. People are asking the exact question that we're talking on today is, should we be buying now or should we be waiting? Like, I feel like it's a really hard one to time. You know, the old saying, time in the market, rather than timing the market, I think is a good example of now. It is really hard to try and predict what's going to happen or time when you're going to buy to make it, you know, the perfect time to buy. I think if you put it into perspective on life in general, there's no perfect time. There's no perfect time to have kids, buy kids. I hope you're not
We
buying
don't
your kids.
we don't condone that.
There's no perfect time to have children. There's no, you know, perfect time to do lots of things. It is really hard to find that perfect time, and that's what everyone's looking for. But I think if you can strip it back and ask yourself, I guess, what needs to change in the next 6 months to make it a better time for me, that might answer your question, because you might go, oh, it's only, I'm just trying to hope for, you know, the property prices to come down, but I can afford it now.
Yeah.
Or it might be, oh no, I really want to build up a buffer of 5 to 10 grand to have in another account or offset account or something like that to make me less stressed. Well, then waiting might be good for you. But trying to predict what's happening in the markets and what's happening in interest rates, what's happening in the government budget, it's none of us have a crystal ball, and
No.
it's just not possible.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyone who can predict the future out there.
Yeah, let us know. Give me the lotto numbers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it. But yeah, it's really hard to do. So I think changing that question a little bit might help people nut it out, because there is no right or wrong answer. It's about stripping it back and looking at your situation. If you're financially ready, like you said, at the moment it seems like there is lower numbers at open homes. Maybe better negotiations available, things like that. They can all be helpful if you are looking to buy, if you're financially ready. If you're not financially ready, then yes, maybe waiting is better. But I've actually got some data on, if people did like 6 months ago wait, what their borrowing capacity would look like today.
Cool. Okay.
I think it's really important to see, you know, how waiting can impact that side of it as well. It's not all about what's happening in the market.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
just need my phone for this one. When I give these figures, it is like the exact client on the exact same income.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is we've obviously had rate changes, things like that. So I'll start with owner occupied loan. So a client of mine in December, she borrowed 460,000 as an owner occupied loan. If she did that today, she would only be able to get 416,000.
Wow.
So that's a 44,000 reduction. Like
Mm.
that's huge when you're looking at those figures. Obviously she had a deposit to go into it, but still to
Mm-hmm.
bring it down by that much is
Yeah.
massive if you're looking at that top end of your borrowing
Mm-hmm.
capacity.
Yeah. And what are the factors that have reduced that?
All the interest rate changes so that we've had in the interim
Mm-hmm.
has impacted what she can now lend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Along with that, like I've got another client and he borrowed 600,000 in February and today he could lend 570,000.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
if you look at that difference, put that into a market that you'll be able to help here in a second. We can sort of, I guess,
Mm.
make a quick summary of it.
Mm.
But if house prices have increased and your borrowing capacity's dropped,
Mm.
the type of house you can now get 6 months later,
Yeah.
not even since
Mm-hmm.
February, is a massive difference.
Yeah, definitely. So if someone's budget was reducing that much, we would have to change your whole strategy.
Yeah.
So that sort of change would mean you're probably dropping from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom,
Yeah.
or you might have to change suburbs completely.
Yeah.
Mm.
The biggest impact though is investors.
Mm-hmm.
So a client 6 months ago could have lent, this is again, exact same client, exact same money, like no income changes. These are 3 different clients, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
1.16 they could have borrowed. Today, they could borrow 830,000.
Wow.
No one can predict what's happening, like the government's changes on negative gearing, and that is where the biggest change in that investment came from.
Yeah, that was overnight. That
Literally.
that
Yeah.
was there was a little bit of warning, but the fact that that was from that evening
Yep.
that those rules were in place was wild.
And then the banks just started rolling out because it's a known change. Obviously, we have to factor that in,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
taking that negative gearing away,
Mm-hmm.
plus the interest rate changes,
Mm.
have impacted investors dramatically. That was buying established. Obviously, they could flip it over, buy, like do a new build, for
Mm.
example, and the negative gearing will
Yeah.
still be applicable. But just in that situation, like there are massive changes in that
Mm-hmm.
6 months and under in borrowing capacity where waiting doesn't always pay off.
Yeah. And I was reading an article by the ABC this morning, and they interviewed a developer,
Yeah.
and they were saying that they've got investor clients saying that they want to build, they want to take on the government's new initiatives and
Yeah.
schemes. Because for those who don't know, the one of the new schemes is that negative gearing will still be allowed to be claimed.
Negative gearing will still apply for
Yeah.
new builds,
Yeah,
but not
that's better.
established properties.
Yes, so negative gearing will still apply for any new builds.
Mm-hmm.
So any investors out there that are building an investment property, you're safe. But yeah,
Check with your accountant.
yeah, check with your accountant. But according to this article by the ABC, they were interviewing this investor, what was it? Sorry, a developer, and his investor clients are saying, we really want to build these investment properties, and we want to take on these new initiatives. However, the cost of building has gone up dramatically and it's not feasible.
Yeah.
The numbers don't work.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which just makes it all so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But that timing game
Mm.
doesn't always work. Or
Yeah.
like, have you got data on what the house prices have done in the last 6 months?
Yeah, so this is today is actually the 1st of July, so this is perfect because the data's hot off the press. So
Oh,
Tim Lawless from Cotality has just made his statements, and here are some fun facts for you all. Right, Cotality's National Home Value Index has dropped. So
Okay.
That's the whole of Australia
Yep.
by 0.4%.
Okay.
The two areas that have continued to decline are Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah.
So Sydney has seen a 1.2% decline in home values, and Melbourne has seen a 1% decline. Melbourne has seen a 1% decline in home values
Yep.
last month. Okay. Capital city home values fell by 1.3% over the June quarter. The biggest fall out of those capital cities was Sydney. So Sydney fell by 3.2%,
Oof.
and Melbourne has fallen by 2.6%. So it's quite a shift
Yeah.
compared to the previous quarter. So they're saying that March was the peak of the national home value index. Mark is what they're calling the peak.
Okay.
Mm.
Have we got the Sunshine Coast or what's that
Yeah,
like?
so the Sunshine Coast is a little bit different. So they group the Sunshine Coast within the regional market. So the regional markets have continued to outperform the capital cities,
Okay.
and they've actually been increasing by 0.3% in June and 1.1% over the quarter.
So 1% increase roughly around here.
Yeah, yeah. So still seeing a little bit of an increase.
Yeah.
Brisbane is still on the up. Brisbane's just an hour away from us, and they had a slight increase in their home values by 0.3%. So that is slowing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But even with that small increase, right, there's a tiny increase there and your borrowing capacity's dropped. For example, since December. It's not ideal, is it?
No, not great. So good for buyers to
Yeah.
try and get in with the home prices not being as aggressive, and obviously you're not having to pay a ridiculous amount over asking. You know, we were seeing a time where each month Brisbane was going up by 1%.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah.
Massive,
So
isn't it?
I think when we're specifically talking about Queensland, though, there are a few things happening for us.
Yeah.
So we are on the sprint, Brisbane and Sunshine Coast, to the Olympic Games. 2032 is coming hard and fast, and we are getting a lot of money thrown into our councils. So
Yeah.
there's transport upgrades, there's hospital upgrades, stadiums, which they're madly trying to upgrade or build. The Sunshine Coast is, sort of piggybacking off all of that as well. So I think naturally all of that is going to benefit people who are thinking of moving here, who are investing here. Usually where, we've got to remember we don't have a crystal ball, but
Yeah.
I heard something the other day. History is not a indicator of success. However, history often it doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we usually hear when a lot of money is being thrown into a local council, such as an Olympic Games, it often injects positivity into the market.
Yeah. New infrastructure
Yeah.
helps all the time, right?
Yeah. So I think keeping that in mind and getting in before all of that is complete would be wise. But again, we need to remember whether you're ready or not.
Yes. And I feel like you said, history rhymes. I think when you look at the historical data over a 5 to 10 year period, generally you would see an upward
Yeah.
projection in a property.
Yeah, definitely. If we zoom right out on the Queensland market, even 20 years ago, we know property is a long game investment.
Yeah.
So as long as you're holding your property through those, peaks and troughs,
Yeah.
you're going to be okay. If you're trying to sell at the bottom of the market, of course, you're going to lose
Yeah.
out. So hang on tight if you're in that moment. But here in Queensland, we're still seeing an uptick. We're still seeing positive growth. But yeah, it's definitely slowing down.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like all the hype in the media at the moment, I shouldn't say hype, fear. What do you call it?
Fear mongering.
Fear mongering. In the media at the moment does deter people, and that is why it's on so many people's minds. Should they buy? Should they wait? Um, but you can't listen to the media for everything. It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
I guess, advice. They're just trying to, you know, get people to read their articles or
Yeah. Yeah. They tried to make happy news before.
yeah,
There's people that have tried to make really happy-go-lucky newsrooms, and they don't work because they don't get the views. People want to hear the tea, they want to hear the drama,
yeah,
and newsrooms are really good at scaring people into into thinking it's worse than what it
yeah.
is. Mm.
And in that, I feel like some people are, not everyone loves your success either.
Yeah.
So sometimes advice comes maybe not from the
hmm
best person either.
Yeah.
That's something to be mindful of.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely. There's lots of places you can go to look at this, the statistics and data if you're wanting to see the real data yourself rather than hearing it from the newsroom. You can Google
yeah,
all of this. You can go to Prop Track. You can look at Google Cotality and ask for these figures as well if you want to stay informed.
yeah,
You don't always need a subscription to keep
yeah.
informed about the numbers.
I feel like the biggest thing people are scared of at the moment is what if property prices do drop? They buy now.
Mm,
We're obviously at, especially in Queensland, at a decent peak. Would you
mm.
agree with that?
Yeah. Yep.
So now we've had that growth. What if they start to fall?
hmm I think depends what your goal is. If you're just um, moving in to live a happy life and using that property as your um, owner occupier residence, I think you'll be okay because even if you go to um, sell
Mm.
in 5 years' time, I don't think for example, the Sunshine Coast or Brisbane
Yeah.
would have such a dramatic drop that it will affect you too much. For what I'm trying to say is, we look at Mackay, for example. Mackay is notorious for being a boom bust town. It's
Yeah.
like a one horse type of town. It's a mining town, and there's not much um, going for it. Sorry if you live in Mackay.
If you've
Um,
invested in Mackay.
yeah, and when their prices over in Mackay drop, they
Yeah.
drop for years and years.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a major city or a major regional um, area, such as the Sunshine Coast, those little dips are not as hard hitting.
Yeah.
So as I said, we're not predictors. We can't see the future, but I think as long as you're selling and buying in the same market,
Yeah.
you'll be okay. And for those investors out there, you shouldn't be buying to just buy and sell in a
In a
couple of
couple of
years'
years.
time.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah. We can't give advice or anything like that,
Mm,
obviously, but we can speak from what we would do in that situation.
hmm
I think for me, if I was looking to purchase at the moment,
mm,
if buyer numbers had dropped off, going against the grain can work in you.
hmm
Like, I would personally
mm,
be quite comfortable to do it.
yeah. Um,
I think it's a good time if I were doing it. I'd love
Yeah,
to go.
definitely.
Yeah.
Everyone always quotes Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
So you want to be brave when other people are scared.
Yeah, that's where
Um,
opportunity
mm,
comes,
yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah, so
Love
opportunity,
that.
definitely. I think there's really great opportunity out there at the moment.
Yeah, obviously still buying smart. So when you were talking before about you don't think like Sunny Coast compared to Mackay, for example, has those peaks and troughs.
hmm
Peaks and troughs? Yeah, peaks and troughs.
Yes, peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same way as Mackay, for an
Mm.
example. I've only had one client ever not be able to refinance because the property price has dropped that much.
Ah, yeah, okay.
It's only ever been one client, and I'll tell you where it was.
Where was it, Mackay?
No.
Where was it?
Guess, everyone, I'll leave it for a few seconds. Same. It has changed a little now, but I feel like it
Cairns?
was mining, like more of
Rocky.
a no Perth.
Ah,
So this was a
duh.
couple of
Sorry,
years
Perth.
ago,
Yeah.
yeah. But obviously they had bought at a high there, and then it had plummeted. Um, and we couldn't refinance the property because there was like the property value wasn't high enough anymore. So like I said, it's only ever happened once. But that client held on to the property. Like it just kept paying the rate that it was on. Yes, it might not have been the sharpest. It was an investment for him. Thought it was a bad idea at that point. It was like, oh, I should never have done that. But anyway, did it. And now it held on to it. But now you look at Perth. So like in the end, over that 5 to 10 year period, he would have massive growth now.
Yeah, WA popped off during COVID.
Yeah.
People were really taking risks over there.
Yep.
Not my cup of tea. I
Yeah.
don't mind a bit of risk, but I look at not only the 5-year growth, I look at the 10 and 20-year growth of areas, and I just alarm bells for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, good on those people that have made a bit of cash over there.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see that, like, don't see it very often where the value drops by that much. Literally one time I've ever had it. But in the end, it did pay off because house prices grew so
everywhere.
much over there.
And let's be clear, that was everywhere, just about. Everywhere has had unprecedented growth in the market. However, if we were to look at WA, the reason why it's so risky is because it is so heavily reliant on mining over there.
Yeah, the whole state.
Yeah. So,
But that is a very risky place, like you said. When you look at the risk factors there to here, I feel like it's obviously a lot less risky here. So you would hope that it wouldn't sort of replicate that type of drop.
yeah.
But even in that case, eventually it worked. Not to say every time it will, but just it was lucky.
Yeah. And speaking specifically to the Sunshine Coast has a lot of owner-occupier appeal. It actually has less investors here compared to Brisbane. Brisbane is more an investor city compared to the Sunshine Coast. So I think that will keep the Sunshine Coast ticking away as well. We're still having a fair bit of migration here as well.
Yeah, so heading back to the question, should we buy now or wait? I think we've given some really cool, I love data and numbers, obviously.
Definitely. Hot off the press, thanks Tim Lawless.
Yeah. I think we've come up with some really cool data to, give actual examples, not just reasons why you should wait or why you should buy now. Obviously, I think our key takeaways would be every person's situation's different.
Definitely. Yep.
If it were me and I was financially ready, I would be buying now.
Yeah. I would definitely, if I were ready and I had been thinking about it for a little while, I would be excited about the fact that we are able to negotiate now.
Yeah. But then in saying that, if I wasn't financially ready, there's no point in forcing it either. Like if you feel financially not ready or you need a little bit more deposit, then that's okay to wait.
Yeah. You don't want to be a distressed seller later on.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like, oh, it's a great buyer's market. I have to go out and buy now and financially stress yourself just to get in now.
Yeah.
Like keep building your deposit or do what you need to do to make yourself ready. And then when you're financially ready, that's the time for you.
Definitely. I agree. Everything is personal to your situation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you can. And another key takeaway would be, like, it's so important to reach out and find out your borrowing capacity.
Well, that's the end of episode 2. Let us know, would you wait or are you someone that would jump in and would buy now? Do you see opportunity?
Yeah, let us know your reasoning. So remember, the more you know, the more you can do.
Thanks for listening to She Fine, She Funds podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.
This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The information shared is general in nature and does not take into account your individual objectives, financial situation, or needs. Before making any property or lending decisions, you should seek professional guidance that's appropriate for your own circumstances. Christine Stoeckert is a licensed buyer's agent, real estate license number 4825177. Sheena Briffa is a credit representative 526921, is authorised under Australian Credit Licence 517192.